Let's continue our session. Our next speaker is Illia Ovtsynov with a talk titled The Structure of Morse and Codimension 1 Gradient Flows on the Sphere with Holes.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm now sharing my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. So my topic is about gradient flows with an internal saddle connection on the sphere with holes. I would like to acknowledge my supervisor. The first one is Maximenko Sergei. He is a Doctor of Science in Physics and Mathematics, professor and corresponding member of NAS of Ukraine. And the second one is Alexander Prishlyak. He is a Doctor of Sciences in Physics and Mathematics and professor of Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev. And actually, we are in process of writing the article, which is dedicated to the topic I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you about Morse mail flows on a cylinder and how we are going to research topological equivalence of such flows. And then I'll tell you briefly about one of the bifurcation one flows on the cylinder. They are the flows with one internal saddle connection. So a vector field Ex or flow G, which is generated by this vector field on a compact manifold M, is a Morse vector field of flow if next statements hold true. Firstly, the critical points are non-degenerate. It means that our critical point can be either source or sink or a saddle. Secondly, there are no separatrix connections belonging to the interior of the two manifold. I mean that if we have two saddles in the interior of manifold, then there is no trajectory which goes out from one saddle and goes into the other one. The only exclusion is when we have two saddles on the boundary, and then a trajectory which goes out from one saddle and goes into the other saddle belongs to the boundary of this manifold. And thirdly, the alpha limit or omega limit set of each trajectory is a critical point. So these flows are usually researched in our article by means of separatrix diagrams and distinguished graphs. What they are? So you can see a cylinder, or just a circle with a hole. You can see here two connected components of its boundary and some trajectories of the flow on this cylinder. Actually, these trajectories are just those ones which belong to connected components of our boundary. And the other one are trajectories which either go out of or go into saddle. Such trajectories which go out of saddle or go into saddle, they are called separatrix. And such a thing is called in our work a separatrix diagram. Actually, we can, by means of this diagram, we can construct a complete topological invariant for Morse flow on a cylinder, which is called distinguished graph. You can see here that firstly, we took here only those separatrices which are stable manifolds of saddles. We just removed unstable manifolds of saddles. They have green color in this diagram. We left only red ones. And these thin black lines, they represent namely these trajectories. Whereas thick black lines, they represent trajectories which move along the components of our boundary. Despite that, we took a small enough neighborhood of our sources we can see here two sources. One so I mean that distinguished graph, again, I start with the very beginning of description. We just remove our unstable manifolds of saddles. I mean that here they are colored in green. We removed them and we leave only red ones. And red ones are represented by thin lines here, whereas thick lines represent our trajectories in the components of boundary. And then we take small enough neighborhoods of our sources. We have here two sources, one in the interior and the second one in the boundary. We remove their interiors and we just mark boundaries of our neighborhoods by dashed lines. So we obtained a distinguished graph, and its peculiarity is that if we have two flows and we have two distinguished graphs for them, two Morse flows. If these graphs are isomorphic, it means that our flows are homeomorphic. No, not homomorphic, but topologically equivalent. Yes, and we are moving to our part about saddle connection bifurcation. Actually, our article describes a wide range of specific flows on compact manifolds, which are called codimension 1 flow. And there we have 8 kinds of such flows, but of course I'm short of time now, so I'm going to dedicate my speech only to one kind of such flows. Is saddle connection bifurcation. Such flows have only one speciality comparatively to Morse flow. If you remember, one of the statements in the definition of Morse flow tells us that there are no separate fixed connections belonging to the interior of the two manifolds. Here we can have one and only one saddle connection. It's just a trajectory which goes out of one saddle and goes into the other one saddle. And here we have a bifurcation in R2 and a middle situation when A equals to 0 represents namely our situation, saddle connection. Here we can see saddle connections on D2. Again, we have separate fixed diagrams where we represent trajectories which belong to the boundary of D2, and we represent separate rises, which are stable or unstable manifolds or are of our saddles. And here we can see only separate rises and trajectories on boundaries. And we can see here 10 different cases of saddle connections on D2. Actually, for them, we can have distinguished graphs the same way we had them for Morse flow. The point is that in Morse flows we couldn't have such situation when, for example, I'll draw for you if you don't mind. We can have here lines which do not intersect, actually. In saddle connection, we can have a situation when one line is attached by other line, which represent the stable manifold of other saddle. And in case of Morse flow, it's impossible because Morse flow doesn't have saddle connection. So actually, one moment. We obtained 10 saddle connections on D2, and we obtained 15 saddle connection on a cylinder. Actually, our work is not finished. We are in a process. We are formulating final theorems about different bifurcations on compact manifolds, but there are some results we managed to obtain. And particularly we use Yes, because yes, I will be very brief. It's the end of my speech actually, but the work of Pellis and Tekens considers codimension one flows on closed surfaces. And it's just a partial case of compact manifolds, and it considers only two types of flow, where two conditions in definition of Morse-Mail flow are broken. One case is when there is one saddle connection, and the other case is when one critical point is non-hyperbolic. And we with Alexander Prishlak researched these two flows by means of chord diagrams. It's another type of complete topological invariance, which can help us research topological trajectory equivalence of flows, and even it can help us to understand a topological structure of optimal codimension one flows on closed surface. Optimal flow is a flow which has the least number of singular points on a fixed surface. And we obtained some results, some numbers of such flows on different surfaces of genus, for example, genus 2, 3 in non-oriented cases and oriented cases. And now we are going to continue our work with compact manifolds. Yes, I think that's all. Thank you for your attention.